Hi everybody, welcome to another unofficial GMAT vlog. So today I'll talk about something that students keep asking me every now and then, which is how to get a teaching assistantship as part of your MBA course. So actually let me start by telling you a little about the teaching assistantship for those of you who don't know. Teaching assistantship in short is TA. So there are three of them actually. There's TA, there is RA, which is research assistantship, and there is GA, I think. All three of them basically, as the name suggests, are opportunities available to, let's say, master's students, also to MBA students by that definition, wherein they assist a faculty or assist the school in some function, certain jobs. So why would a student do that? As a student, why would you want to do that? Because of one big benefit, that is, a teaching assistantship typically comes with a full tuition fee waiver. In a lot of colleges, if you get hired as a TA, all your tuition fee is waived off. So that is, the reason why students get attracted to a TA or even an RA or a GA. TA is the most common one, the teaching assistantship. So I'll kind of stick to that. But what applies to TA more or less also applies to GA and RA. So I'll mainly stick to TA in this. So as a teaching assistant, what will you basically be doing? You will be assisting one particular teacher who will choose you as his or her assistant. So you will assist the teacher in conducting the class, in checking assignments maybe, in giving out assignments. You will basically be doing all the donkey work, So you don't expect to be doing some mind-blowingly creative work. All the operational work basically is what you will be doing, for which you will also be paid, by the way. There is always a stipend associated with all three, TA, GA, RA. It's not a lot because there's a limitation on how much can you work. I think the maximum number of hours you can work in a week will be 20. Most schools will actually limit it to between 10 and 15 hours in 1 week. So you won't be making, anything more than, let's say, $600 to $800 a month. So, but that's anyway extra money. So all the money is welcome. However, the big benefit, as I said, is if you get a partial or a complete tuition waiver. So now when it comes to tuition waiver, keep in mind different schools have different policies. Some schools clearly state they will give you 100% fee waiver. Whether you are a domestic student or an international student makes no difference. Some other schools promise 100% tuition fee waiver, but only the in-state tuition fee. The in-state is basically the fee charged to in-state students who are basically from that particular state. So it won't apply to international students, and that fee normally is 60% or so of the fee that will be charged to a international student. So if you are an international student, in those schools you're basically getting a 50 to 60% scholarship. Some schools will clearly say they will give you no tuition waiver. That also happens. But why would anybody take up a TA over there? I have no idea. So usually the attraction of a TA is the tuition fee waiver that you get, along with the stipend that you get. And as I said, you can work between 10 and 20 hours. However, there's also a problem with the TA, typically for MBA students, which is that the MBA course is very, very grueling. But there's so much happening on campus that you actually will have to work very hard to prioritize what to do and what not to do. In this mix, if you put in 15 or 20 hours of TA work, it's very difficult to take out that time. It may not look like a lot of time right now, but when you go to a business school, you'll barely get time to sleep, barely a few hours. It's very, very grueling, very, very hectic. And not all of it is boring, it's great fun also at times. You'll be having a lot of fun activities. But the point is, this time will come from there. So do you actually want to do that? That's one big question. In order to take up this TA, you will be losing out on some other activities. So that's one negative part of it. Now, I'll just discuss a few things to keep in mind with regards to a TA. So the first is, it is very difficult to get a TA in the first year. Normally, you get a TA in the second year. Once you've interacted with teachers, they know you, you've learned a few things in the first year. So you can assist a teacher in teaching the first year class. So normally you get a TA in the second year. Also, because the TA is very competitive. Not all teachers have assistants. So I mean, don't expect that everybody will become a TA. Very, very few people will be chosen as a TA or a GA or an RA. So then, one of the criteria, of course, will be your expertise in that particular subject. If you've got prior experience in that subject, your undergrad degree maybe, or if in the first year you've performed very well in that subject, then that definitely will work to your advantage in getting a TA in the second year. Of course, it also helps if you can connect with professors, because it is the professors who will decide who his or her TA should be. So then, if you have a connection with some professor, it will obviously be easy to become a TA of that professor. So your interpersonal skills then come into the picture. So and the final thing to keep in mind is most schools will not put up their TA criteria on the website. Not for the business school. You will mostly see it for PhD students or MS students. But for MBA students, you will rarely see business schools put up their criteria, their TA criteria on the website. So what you want to do is, once you have shortlisted your schools, the ones you will be applying to, mail each of them and ask them how to go about applying for a TA. Because some schools may ask you to start contacting teachers beforehand. Some or most will actually tell you to wait until you get admitted, and after you reach the school, then you apply for a TA or a GA or an RA. So different schools have different criteria. It is best if you approach each school individually and ask them. Finally, to sum it up, I think a TA is a great way to save on tuition fee. However, if you're looking at the top 20, top 25 schools, it will be very, very difficult to first get a TA and second to get the time to actually justify the TA. So mostly, I've only seen students who are in the 30 to 60 colleges, in the top 30 to 60 colleges, they end up getting TAs and GAs and RAs because their schedule is not that grueling, not that hectic. So it's a great source of funds, but the likelihood or the probability of you getting a TA is going to be very, very low. So don't completely bank on it. Do check it out though.